Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling. A lot to talk about with 11 races on today's card, including the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch, our final prep for the Breeders' Cup Turf, a race that has quite a storied history. We're doing it. Do you know how many fillies or mares have won this race, by the way?
No.
I believe it's 4 or 5 times. Weah.
I knew Weah.
We know all along won it in '83. April Run, I think, won it twice.
Wow.
And there's somebody else. The year after Weah won it, somebody.
So 76?
No. The first running was 77. Johnny D won it. In fact, that picture, is it still up there on the wall? Is Johnny D winning the Turf Classic, if you know where we are on the first floor. And Weah won it the second year. And
So 79, you think a filly won it after Weah in 78?
yeah, somebody's texting me. Somebody knows the answer, they're telling me.
Okay.
Evan's texting. Maybe Evan knows. Anifa. I don't remember Anifa.
Well, I was 2, but no, I don't remember.
I was in college. Somebody
I don't
has an
remember that
excuse,
name.
pretending to learn.
I don't remember that name either.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Anifa.
April Run was the Firestones,
Yes,
I believe.
April Run I remember because it was Firestone. I think she produced
Yeah, she produced a good horse.
a couple of decent, one good one and a couple of decent ones. Yeah, that's why I know that name. It was early in the I think Bill Mott had a couple of the progeny.
Probably. We should go.
From April Run.
We should
Well,
get
we should
to
do
work
the show
here.
first, not go.
Yeah, I mean, we should get to
Oh,
work.
right, okay.
Pretend we're working. Pretend we're doing something. $200. We'll match for $200 your deposit. Initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. Head over to NYRABets.com. We have I think if you bet a $10,000 super, $50 exacta in the Vosburg, and you get a $20 bonus. And go over to Naira, opt in, Naira Bets, go to the site for details. What else do we have? The show, 12:30 to 6, covering all our races today.
Ordinarily have a stakes blog up for the weekend, but we got 11 stakes today, 9 tomorrow. So we have picks and plays up for each day. The Saturday races are up, Sunday will be up tomorrow.
All right.
So
Thanks.
head on
That's
over to
a
Naira
Bets. Smooth Like Straight scratched out of the...
He did. It was kind of a little later than the first set
It's
of
a
scratches.
bad scratch for our friend Lee and Casa Creed, because even though he's a good horse, you want speeds in that race if you're Lee and have Casa Creed. And we are homers in that particular case and rooting for our good friend Lee Einseidler. And I haven't handicapped the race anyway, so I'll just root for Lee. It's very easy for me. It's very, very easy not to look at races when you have friends with horses that you want to win. You just root for their horses to do well. And that race looked like my head exploded when I looked at it anyway. Race number 1. I don't think the Chad Brown first-time starter, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, it's some Gaelic name, Ein whatever. I have friends who speak Gaelic. I could have called them, but I really didn't care. 1 to 5 right now. 1 to 5. I don't think there's ever been a more overbet horse than 2 to 5 on that Clement horse in the first race yesterday, though 1 to 5 on the
You're right about that.
horse. It's my race. It's my racehorse, so they're all in. This horse does have a pedigree. After 4 turf winners, has 6 to try it. European pedigree. Chad Brown's okay with the firsters, sprints. Not great.
No.
Routers seem better overall. Probably because he has more router types and those
more
pedigrees.
routing, right?
Those are more pedigrees. He's going to get more pedigrees that are pretty much dedicated to that. I'm going to take a horse, and I know you're Mr. Short-Term Memory Man, but the last time Will Be Famous was entered on the turf a few weeks ago, you had this horse on top, as did I. This time, not even in your top 4. What happened?
I think she finds a little bit of a tougher bunch.
Well, I don't know that she does.
I don't know if she does either, but it looks to be a little bit of a tougher bunch.
But still, this horse has plenty of pedigree.
She's
Dam was a
coming back
multiple
quickly,
winner.
too. 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, she did so much running last time. I'm really worried about it. It's also a horse that
Short term.
I know I'm not the biggest fan of this rider. I think Jose's given up on this horse a little bit in her races. Hopefully Eric won't be giving up on her. I thought this was a horse that's probably not gotten the most aggressive rides in her races. Other horses that have pedigrees in the air, Christoph's horse on the rail, Together, Together? All these Gaelic names. It's not really fair. You have a Kodiak and an Oasis Dream. What else is going on in this race? That horse, I have him 2nd and 3rd. Lexi's Spirit, you have in there? I have in there somewhere as well.
Yeah. 4 ball.
This horse ran okay, to be honest. That race was falling apart. This horse made a move into the race and sort of didn't finish it up. I think that race may be a little bit dressed up. I assume Don't Look Back at All is running in the Matron later today.
So,
Maybe this horse will give
Night
you a little-
Saber has a little pedigree as well. Dan was 3 for 7 on the grass.
Yes. I agree.
This horse coming back quickly though too, and out of that same race. We'll see.
No, they came back because they got rained off.
Yeah.
Race number
She'll be a
one.
big price.
Race number 2, we have to scratch down to 4 horses in at least one race a day, so why not let it be this race? A horse that's probably going to be favored that because of the scratches, neither of us having our top 2 picks is Dot's Dollar. We'll show the race 2 back. I think Dot's Dollar is the horse to beat. I tried to beat her in here, but the thing is, this race she should have been disqualified. I don't think there's any real argument about that. And the horse that she fouled, Swift Tap, was scratched out of here, and she repeatedly heard this horse out the whole stretch. This was an unfortunate non-DQ, then one that Anthony and I agree on. I actually thought Dot's Dollar ran very well last time. That was a tougher field. I know the figure came back low. I have a feeling that fig came back a little on the low side. And this horse got involved in a pretty strong pace that fell apart for Nabokov to win. The race kind of fell apart in there. And this horse actually ran well last time. I'm just not sure what to do with him.
As well as he ran last time, it's curious he's back in for the tag, no?
No. Well, they claimed him for 30, right? Or 50. I don't know, 50, I can't. I don't know. What are they supposed to do with him? Going to really win a non-winners of 1? Probably not.
I think he ran well enough last time when you give him another chance, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you plan on coming back quick, you're running the next one, you're probably going to duck Expressman. I don't know, I thought it was interesting.
Maybe you'll have to run in the one that against the maiden that's running today for Todd. I'm going to try to wire the field with Inevitable Connection. The speeds of the 4 and 5. Hard to imagine Kendrick, who by the way has been riding very well. I gotta think he's going to send him. I actually thought the 3 and 4 were the interesting horses in this race, coming out of that race in Jersey. You know, the 3 last time caught the sloppy track. It's not the pace fell apart. The race 2 back I thought was a very good effort. I think Inevitable Connection, who comes out of that race, actually ran well in there as well, as he was the one setting the pace. I thought he could be the speed. I'm going to go for new faces in here. I'm just a little sick of the ones we've been looking at, to be honest with you.
That's fine. I went to Funny Joke, just the Noda.
This is the race, by the way, 2 back for Inevitable Connection.
Yeah, I'm going to ride the Noda Express, hopefully Inevitable Connection.
It's a big Express. He's won a few races.
Get in each other's way. They're all running. All the horses are kind of running, though.
I don't want this horse.
All right.
This horse's last race was absolutely
it wasn't very good.
Pathetic.
It wasn't good.
But for Rudy,
it wasn't good.
his last race was awful. I want no part of this horse.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care who's training this horse. This horse ran for Rudy last time, and he was horrendous. Good luck to them with this horse. I got a feeling that this is a horse that was cranked up by Rudy to begin his career, and he has just completely and totally fallen apart. I don't want any part of this horse. And I don't have a problem with Dot's Dollar, but I just kind of wanted to go a different direction. Obviously, the scratches take a lot of any potential prices out of the race. Race number 3, and I think we need to talk about yesterday's track. It started out like a huge inside speed track, which I think it was. I do think there's an argument it mitigated a bit as the day wore on. I'm not really sure. I'd like to think that there was a reaction by the maintenance crew to how biased the track was early in the day, and they're working on the track to make it fairer for everybody. But it is something to keep your eye on. And looking at the horses, and you're just going to keep picking these trainers. This was Rob Falcone with Double Shot. Double Shot has no chance to win this race unless you think he's going to dramatically improve. We'll take a look at the last race they ran, and they were both compromised by pace. And I think Luis Saez and Jose Lezcano with these two horses did a good job putting them into the race. But they were up against a horse, Banyan Breeze, who was the controlling speed and a legitimate speed. So instead of being taken out of their game, he was playing his game, and they were forced to play his game. The problem I have with Double Shot is he's just not good enough.
I don't know why you would say that.
What's so good about his races?
What's so good about any of their races?
Well, I mean, the 5 in Sky We Trust is faster than these horses. I know it's a drop down. Obviously, I'm hoping.
You want him off the drop?
Do I want him? I picked him 2nd or 3rd in here. I think he's more likely to win that. I think that Trouble.
Went back-to-back at Colonial last summer. I know we don't have everything doesn't have to be based on wins, but boy, after that win at Colonial, his form just kind of fell apart a little bit.
Oh, I don't agree at all. I think either of his last 2 to 4 races, any of them could win here. I'm not going to care what he did at Louisiana Downs, but no, I think he's just a faster horse. I don't think Double Shot's that good.
I have him 2nd, but I mean, I'm not.
We have a difference of opinion here, and you're going to keep paying the Rob Falcone horse, which is fine. Rob's won a bunch of races lately. I get it. Well, mostly with logical horses, but his barn is going well. There's no doubt about it. And it's a very smart ride yesterday with Kendrick, and I'm sure Rob had something to do with it. He probably told him to make sure to be aggressive. And you're right about what's his name. He just doesn't win. though he got a terrible ride yesterday.
Yeah, he did not get a good trip.
Well, I mean, to not understand, you have to put these horses into races. I don't know how many races you need to see and ride to not understand to put horses into races. But Kendrick was not in that vein. He was very alert, and he rode that horse well. And I imagine Rob had something to do with it. I have a different opinion. I think the double shot Durkin's call running against horses that are just significantly worse than these.
You might be right.
Obviously, we see the race differently. Listen, I'm trying to wake up a horse whose form sucks. I mean, Vintage Hollywood's last races are an embarrassment. And even when he's in good form, he doesn't win either. But he is going to be a price, and I'm going to hope he can wake up on the big drop down. But no question about it, he may just be a total finished product.
He might be done.
If you picked him, I'd say to him, how do you pick him? He's got terrible recent form. What is wrong with No Trouble off the claim for Talia Lynch?
Nothing. I got a third.
Yeah.
I got him third. I mean, he might be the speed in here.
Yeah. I think he may be the speed as well.
Jose Gomez,
Supposed
right?
to send with this horse, and if it's
Yeah.
inside, that's why I put him second. I thought he could be dangerous in here.
You're supposed to be able to clear. If the inside's good, you're supposed to be able to clear the two horses to his inside.
I think the problem with this race is the 7's form he may just not be able to run anymore. As you point out with the 5, it's a negative drop down off the claim. You could say a similar about O Trouble, who beat
Probably
a
should have
hungry
picked the race.
field
I
two
probably
back.
should have picked the race 4-3.
And your horses are just not that good. So you look at this race, and you can't bet somebody. I don't know how you
There's
bet
no trouble.
Tapazirance. He was awful last time against Worse on a track he's supposed to like. So I mean, this. What are we looking
This
at?
is O Trouble.
Oh.
Winning the 3 Life 2 starts back. Another thing about O Trouble, that's the other thing about O Trouble. He'd only won those conditioned races. Same thing with. Well, in Sky We Trust won through the allowance conditions at the very least. But yeah, this horse, Hero Trouble, getting the job done over Victory Built. I mean, he beat Victory Built, Majestic Tigers flying at him.
Right. These are not good horses. He did all the dirty work, just tired of doing real running.
Right.
But regardless, right? I mean, this is a
But
field
he
full
may
of.
have a tactical advantage in here. Unless Tapazirance comes flying out of there under Omar Moreno.
Got a break from the rail.
Yeah, but he got a break from the rail.
And he's not that fast.
No.
You got to think Gomez.
That's why I
is
said they got to
gonna
come flying out. You got to
here.
think Jose's going to be aggressive.
We'll break
with
after
Trouble.
race 6, by the way, guys. Race number 4. I want to show the last half mile of the race that Smoky Eyes comes out of, because I think both Sweetest Princess and particularly Sweet Blush had a very different kind of trip. I thought both these horses were compromised. Sweetest Princess got herself into a little bit sort of a trouble and shuffled out while the race was developing, and Sweet Blush was wide around the racetrack, 3 to 4 wide the whole way after breaking a step slow. Out of position, that wide middle move into nowhere, while Smoky Eyes was going to be a heavy favorite, was getting an absolutely perfect trip and perfect ride from Pratt. Saving ground, angling out, everything went perfectly. And I'm going to tell you something. I know she finished ahead of the horses, the 10 and 3, but she should have won this race.
She should have won the race.
She should have won this race. And
Yep.
I don't like it when horses are going to be heavy favorites that are favored in their races are coming back. She's had 3 chances now. She's not that good. And I think Sweet Blush is a horse that ran a significantly improved race in the turf, and it's a lot better than it looks. And I think the Smoky Eyes race is worse than it looks. Now, is it enough to
Smoky
close?
Eyes effort
Yeah,
in that race.
is it enough to close the 4+ length gap?
That's
I
the-
don't
that's
know.
4 lengths
Yes,
is
but
a
you're talking
long
about
way.
one horse is going to be 6 to 5 or even
And
money,
one horse is
and
gonna
the other
be
is going to
8
be
to 1.
8 or 10 to
Yeah.
1. So I'd rather bet on Sweet Blush
Fair
in this
enough.
race.
I got a push on the 7. Map.
Ooh.
Brad Cox. How about the owner?
Wow, owner of Delta.
Royal Delta at the end of her career.
Royal Delta.
So Bezelou Stables. I got a little push on this horse.
I was thinking Proud Delta. It was trained by Peter Howe, who passed away recently.
Nothing makes a lot of sense about this horse debuting on the turf. No real pedigree for the turf.
Horse has no pedigree for a trainer whose numbers are not good off the first time. Sorry, they put him
I was
up.
told this horse can run.
Well, my general feeling is the situations with trainers and these things with turf routers, it's rarely valuable information.
Okay.
But
I got valuable information for you, Andy. You know what it is?
What?
Mandatory pick 5 starts.
That's
in this
right.
race.
That's right. That's right. You love that.
I do.
The middle pick 5.
Mandatory pick.
I want to use Sarah's dialed in a little bit in this race, the 5.
Okay.
She has a big pedigree. I think both you and I were a little interested in her last time.
Yeah.
And she ended up chasing outside against a gold rail. I want to put her in there. She chased. I know it wasn't a great race, and I know the pace was slow, but she was chasing on the outside to recognize who was
Took a little
waltzing
money,
along the
too,
floor.
8 to 1.
Well, she has a pedigree.
Yeah.
She's a pedigree, this horse. I think she's an interesting horse to throw in here, and I am not going to concede this race to the 9 Smoky Eyes, who I don't like horses like that are supposed to win their last starts. So we'll see what happens
All right.
in race 4. Race 5 is the paceless Vosburg. And, I want to say something. I understand this is in the pantheon of Vosburgs, probably the least quality race we've ever run. Drafted as the only graded stakes winner in this field. And if you look at the Phoenix yesterday, it was an eyesore as well and came back a super slow race. That's the stake at Keeneland, the sprint. And I don't think the California dirt sprints have anything to write home about either. Anybody that's surprised by this, just pluck their head out of the sand, because the sprint division, for the most part this year, ex-Jackie's Warrior, has sucked. And if
It
you
wasn't
haven't
much
noticed,
different than last
it
year.
wasn't great last year either, where horses were getting 100 buyers to win. The only reason they're getting bigger figures this year is Jackie's Warrior and Cody's Key.
I know we have a lot to cover, but do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know what it is. And reinvestment risk is now on the shelf. Sound Money, who probably could have won this race, was sold.
I think too many people try to stretch their horses out and ruin them.
Well,
That's what I think. That's what I think the biggest thing is.
I'll tell you, it would have been a cinch in this race. Classic Causeway. He'd have won this race from here to Belmont Park.
I knew you were going to say that. Instead, he's going to be 30-1 in the.
Well, he's going to be last. He's going to be last.
I don't get
Seriously,
it.
He'll be finishing when they run the first race here tomorrow. The worst thing that ever happened to Classic Causeway was winning the Belmont. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Where are the 3-year-olds?
That's a great point.
Why aren't any 3-year-olds
There
taking
are
a shot
too
in
many
the
horses that, I'll give you another horse. I'm not trying to pick on Kenny Peak. Now, he's hurt. It's on the shelf. Smile Happy's a horse that could have been a kind of sprinter here. And I'm not trying to pick on Kenny. I'm really not.
I know what you're saying.
He runs his horses and he's successful.
Yeah,
but trainer.
listen, he's run well enough going long where, I mean.
No, they would have turned it back. He's hurt.
Yeah.
If he hadn't been hurt, he could have turned back. But I think that's a really, really great point.
That's what happens.
A lot of horses that could be going 6 to 7. And, right now, I think in theory, I don't know where I have to believe that the 3-year-old, Chad's horse,
Jack Christopher
is going to Jack and Jackie. He's got to go in the sprint, right? Not 2 turns the mile. That could be one of the best matchups of the Breeders' Cup.
And with the horses,
and by the way, Jack Christopher will beat Jackie's Warrior.
With some of those distance horses ducking Flight Line and possibly Life is Good in the Classic, that dirt mile figures to be a pretty salty. But
well, Cody's Key is going to be in there. And if he's running the kind of race he ran.
I'm going to say something else since you brought up Jackie's Warrior. There's a reason Steve Asmussen wins as many races as he does, because he tries to turn them. He tries once. Not an idiot. That's it.
Not an idiot. You know why? Because he likes to win.
That's it.
He runs his horse. He likes to win.
There's a reason he's dominated the sprint division for years.
Warrior. Jackie's Warrior's a terrific horse. He's not the be-all and end-all.
No.
He's just.
But he's a hard knocking. He's a sprinter.
He shows up and runs hard and runs well every time.
That's it.
And he's beating up.
Steve recognizes
These are the Jackie's Warrior less fields, is what these are.
Yep.
So I don't know that it's so surprising. And as we look at Elite Power, is going to be favored in here. In fairness, he's no superstar, but he is improving for a trainer that's had a tremendous year with these horses. I mean, and the other thing is, I'm sure if Bill had it to do over again, he'd said, I wish I hadn't run Speaker's Corner would be last in here. I wish I hadn't run Speaker's Corner against Life is Good. He came back in 3 weeks after Flight Line broke his heart, and then he just got his heart ripped out, and unfortunately he's just not
wouldn't like
competitive
Speaker's Corner in here, loose on the lead?
He can't run anymore.
Oh, you think
he just can't run?
That's what you think?
He just can't run.
That's fine.
He's uncompetitive. I mean, I understand.
He'd have been 3 in front of these horses.
I understand. I get he's the horse to beat here, and he buried this field, and they're not bad. The horse who was second came back and ran a solid number. He did lose to Kavod, but he's okay. I just feel like this horse is going to be 3 to 5 in here.
He's going to be 3 to 5.
I don't need this.
He's going to be 3 to 5. I'll say this.
He hasn't proven to me he's a superstar yet.
No, he's not. I mean, he's never tried a stakes race. I'll say this.
I say that with a great stakes with a grain of salt.
I'll say this about him. If he does what he's done in his prior 2 second starts of his form cycle, he's going to crush these horses. If he improves as much from his first try to his second try on the cycle, he's going to bury these horses. But he's got to do it.
There's Southern District, who has the best race of anybody in here, and this is one of them. At Churchill, 2 back, he's the only horse in this race, except for Jalen Journey, who has triple-digit buyers. The problem with him is that he's probably more pace dependent than Elite Power. And maybe he didn't like Saratoga. He was on a track last time, which was very kind of speed that day. He was atrocious last time. And I'm not taking a horse that's going to be probably, I assume, the second choice, because off a race like his last race, he was awful. I think his best races are better than Elite Power's best race. I don't think they are. I know they are. All speed figures point out that
He
they
has,
are.
he has.
But his last race was just a
Even if
disaster.
you want to toss the muddy track race, the race 2 back's the best race anybody's running here. I think even more so than draft.
The one thing about his muddy track race is he wasn't that far out of it. He wasn't that far out
But it
of it.
was also going a mile. I mean, Jalen Journey's supposed to be in front here.
Yes, he
If
is.
Jalen Journey can run a little bit anymore, Jalen Journey's supposed to be in front here.
If you want the inside speed, it's
Yeah,
him.
it's him.
And maybe he'll win, and we'll say, I don't understand why we didn't use him. I just don't think he's
Right.
good enough.
I just don't think he's
I'm
good
betting
enough
drafted. He is the greatest stakes winner in this field. Here he is winning the Run Happy.
But isn't the problem, Andy, that he needs some pace?
No, that's the thing I like about him.
Wow.
He closes into no pace. What was the pace in this race? They weren't exactly flying. How about his second place finish in that allowance race when they crawled?
Yeah,
He
but
finished
that
second
was the
across bases.
92 sprint compared to what he's supposed to see today.
But
I mean,
I'm just, this is a horse that puts in his run. And how about, let me say something about it. How about his toboggan? They weren't exactly flying in that race. He wasn't even that far out of it. And that was a 7-furlong race.
that was such a funky track that day.
I don't know,
He
a
may have
funky
just-
track.
He may have
No,
just
it
taken
wasn't.
to it.
The problem with that race is Happy Medium didn't show up. That's what happened that day. I'm going to tell you something. His best races are good enough to win this. I love this horse. He's going to get ignored. I'd rather take 4 to 5 to 1 on him than 3 to 5 or 4 to 5 on Elite Power or 2 to 1 on Southern District, whose last race couldn't beat anybody in here. And you know I'm rooting for Southern District to do
Yeah,
well.
listen, I kind of feel like if
We got to keep moving along.
Elite Power
I don't need him at a short price. but
brings his A
obviously.
game.
He's probably the worst to beat only because the one ran so badly last time. Race number 6, an excellent running of the Matron.
Love this race.
We'll start out with the Danse Macabre Redefined race. Why do you like Redefined out of this race?
Well,
Other than the fact you had a tip on him first time.
I thought Redefined ran really well.
Why? Well, he lost to Danse Macabre, so why did he run? Why are you picking him over Danse Macabre?
Well, if we can we watch the replay, Andy, or is that allowed?
whatever you want.
I think he lost some position at the start of the race. I think they just kind of ran away from him a little, a little bit. And I would imagine that going the 6 and down here, I think she'll get some better position today.
She got bumped twice at the start in that race. She got bounced by the horse outside of her and then a horse inside of her, and I agree with you. I believe she lost valuable position. I completely agree with you. And even though she got a decent enough trip after that race, and I don't think that she had a better trip after the start, I think she lost enough in there that hurt her as well. And I thought her first race was solid, and her last race showed that she's okay, and I agree with you. I think she's dangerous. I like Danse Macabre too. I think they're both pretty good. The horse that's going to take a lot of money is Don't Look Back at All. And I do have the horse third, you have her fourth. The problem is we show a race is this race completely fell apart.
I mean, just incinerated. Yeah.
And I mean, this is a West Point horse that was 11 to 1 first time out.
I mean, I know people think that we talk about that a little bit too much, but this was.
What do you mean we talk about it too much? They bet their horses.
This sounds like this smells
This was
like
a surprise.
complete surprise. Absolutely.
Either it was a surprise or
Absolutely.
somebody lied to somebody, and I'm going to go with surprise, okay?
Yeah.
Not that I would,
And listen, I know the third horse came back to win, but
well, wait a second. The third horse came back to win.
I really like this field.
Anthony, the third horse won in the dirt.
I know. I'm just saying.
No, you should have said the third horse won in the dirt, so it doesn't matter what he
The whole
did.
bunch.
Well, you can watch how Mark Hennigs does in the first race,
Yeah.
Flexi Spirit, and that'll give you a hint on this one. Sweet Lou's Got Aces, I wanted to show for Ray Handel, running second, Georgie Spirit. I'm going to tell you something.
This horse ran giant
This
first
horse
time.
ran very well first time out,
Yeah.
and I think that race is a lot better than the 69 buyer that he got. And Georgie Spirit didn't even run that well stretching out and improved his buyer figure. I know this horse is a maiden. I wouldn't completely dismiss this horse at a big price.
No, I think there's a few horses like. I mean, there's a couple of horses like
Listen,
that. in here.
Personal Pursuit, who broke his mane in the dirt, has got plenty of turf
Absolutely.
pedigree. He's not
Yep.
impossible in
Plenty
there.
of turf
Little
pedigree.
Lindsay
Gonna
was lucky to win a race where a lot of horses had trips in there.
Going to get lost in the shuffle on some dirt form. I'll tell you what. I think Dominus Scatinos was Little Lindsay. That was a fast fig.
This horse got that's a fig that's been proven wrong over time. This horse got an absolutely perfect trip, and about 17 horses had bad trips in there. You're welcome to this horse. I think this horse will.
She'll be forward in a race that doesn't have a ton of speed in it.
I'm going to disagree with that as well. It was
Sweet
her.
She's going to follow Sweet Harmony out of there, isn't
You
she?
don't think the Personal Pursuit's going to go? You don't think Fleet Footed's going to go?
I don't think they're fast enough.
Well, I'm going to beg to differ.
Okay. I don't think they're fast enough.
I'm going to beg to differ. I think they'll be moving enough in this race.
Okay.
That's it for the first 6. We got 5 more to go. We'll be right back.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringWater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony and Andy, race number 7. I liked Catch Ya Soon, who scratched. So Shipsational, and I'm going to annoy somebody by saying this, the horse who should have been the 2-year-old male New York bred champion last year. I'm glad to see he's back for Eddie. We'll take a look at him winning the Sleepy Hollow in the Slop last year, and I'm rooting for this horse to come back. I like this horse. I like Eddie, and I hope that he comes back, but I'm going to bet against him.
Okay. Yeah, everything you said, I hope this horse runs well for Eddie. Coming back, this horse's sprint races last year were really good, and you would assume with some routine improvement from 2 to 3, which he did show earlier in the year going long, I would imagine he's going to have this bunch over the proverbial barrel. Though he's got to come back from the soft tissue, a little bit of a soft tissue injury. Got to come back from the layoff. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not taking a horse as the favorite, and I scratched into Life Changer. We'll show you Life Changers. Last race, Looney Sema came back and won. I'm going to take a horse at a bigger price. It has recency, and I thought ran very well last time. Yeah. I'm almost always going to go with recency at a better price in these spots. Yeah. And I'm rooting for Sensational. I really hope Sensational comes back and wins. I like Eddie, I really do, and I'm hoping the horse runs big for him.
I think Eddie likes the horse today.
He once ran a horse he didn't like. The horse probably won, but he... Okay, now I'm going to give you the embarrassing part of the show. Ein Gedi is actually Hebrew. My friend Paul said this to me. This is the first race, the Chad Brown horse.
The horse he couldn't pronounce.
Yeah.
This is great.
My brother speaks fluent Hebrew.
Okay.
He also lives in Jerusalem. Meaning...
I guess it's helpful then.
Well, they speak a lot of English there.
I know, but I'm saying it's helpful.
It says it means Spring of the Kid. It's an oasis, an archaeological site and nature reserve in Israel, located west of the Dead Sea near Masada.
There you go.
So
thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul, and a little bit of learning lesson there on Ein Gedi in the first race.
That's great.
And the embarrassing moment for me, but hey, my life is made up of nothing but embarrassing moments. Very annoyed with people knocking the Mets. Very annoyed by that. If you're a Met fan, you root for them through thick and thin. And I know you agree.
You're talking to a guy who's screamed Escobar last night when it was 7-1.
They're booing Scherzer.
Tonight.
They don't think Scherzer tried to win.
I'll be there tonight.
All those people that go to the games, that go to one game a year, and they pay a lot of money to the playoffs.
I'm going to say this.
They boo Scherzer. You think he's not trying to win?
Buck Showalter has, and I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but he has kind of taken himself out of the good graces in about a week.
No, I'm a Buck fan.
I am too.
But you know, it's right as the Harvey Pack statement. Me, anybody I've met that was nice to me, I like. So, anyway, race number 8. Let me ask you a question as we show Warlike. We'll go to race number 8. I looked up as a 2 scratch. I got scared. Here's Warlike got his last race, where if you leave Twitter, where the Mets are the worst team of all time, and Joe Rosario. By the way, every DQ every day on Twitter is the worst DQ that ever happened.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
I'm going to tell you something about this race mare. She's terrific, and she's the horse to beat. What price do you think she's going to be in here?
You know, I was a little surprised to see that David made her the favorite.
You're kidding me. She might be odds on.
Wow. That's.
I don't think you understand the following this horse.
I thought Gouffo would be the favorite.
Not a chance. There isn't a chance that Gouffo will be favored.
Okay, relax.
If you want to bet on it, I'll lay you 2 to 1. No.
Wow. No. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass.
This horse is an overwhelming favorite in this race, and she's good, and I get it all. But I didn't want to pick her at even money in this race because I know, to be fair, the Breeders' Cup, those are pretty good horses. But how good are they? My sister Nat almost won the race, and yeah, okay, that's a great training job by Chad Brown. She's my sister Nat, okay? I don't know how good are these horses she's running against. Do you really think Virginia Joy is a horse that's going to be beaten up by Gouffo?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
What do you think, Anthony?
I think her giant edge here is the 1.5 miles.
What Gufo doesn't like a mile and a half?
I think he does. I know he does. But I think her big edge is a mile and a half.
She'd be family way at a mile and a half.
My problem with Gufo, here's my problem with Gufo.
We'll show Gufo and
Problem
Soldier
with Gufo
Rising the
is
sword
this
dancer
is
while
his
we're
third race in 6 weeks.
I don't disagree. It's why I put him fourth.
Okay, it's his third race in 6 weeks, and
I
he
wonder
is
if
a
that Kentucky
tricky
Downs-
horse to ride.
I agree, and Joel understands him, and not a knock on Junior. And
Not a
I'm
knock
gonna
on
tell you-
anybody
and
who's
I'm
gonna
gonna tell you
climb
something about
aboard him
Junior.
today.
In fairness, Junior's ridden very well in the last month or so.
I
He
agree
rode great-
100%.
great- He rode the way he used to ride when he was one of the best riders
all
around
I'm
here.
saying is he is
He's
a
a tricky horse to
tricky
ride.
horse to ride.
I agree, and not a great situation for a rider to be riding him for the first time in this situation. And that's one of the reasons I'm going against him. And I agree. I wonder if going back in 2 weeks, Kentucky Downs, going after all that money, and I get it. If I owned him, I'd want to
I
go
do
there
too.
too. But I wonder if it's going to come back to haunt him a little bit. I mean, and that scares me a little bit with him. What a sad moment right now in the Keeneland feed. And that's why I'm against him. And I'll tell you something else. Speaking of great rides, the ride that Soldier Rising, and I know that Manny Franco is riding as well as anybody right now. He'd be hard-pressed to give this horse as good a ride as Jose gave this horse last time.
Amazing ride.
And he still doesn't win these races, so
Right.
I'm not thrilled with him. I'm going to take one shot with Bye Bye Melvin. Today is the day to bet him. He's a half to Mean Mary. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of, we'll take a look at his last race.
Plenty of
There's plenty of
pedigree
pedigree to suggest that he can get the distance. He's going to be controlling on the front end as he did in the race that you're not watching now. I was going to pick him second. I was going to pick the race 2-1. And I think that 2-1 is probably the right way to pick it if, like you and I, we don't like Gufo. Or we're scared. We don't trust Gufo.
I put him second. I mean, I don't really like anybody else in the race.
I'm not. You know what? Rock,
you're gonna go-
Rock
if you're
Emperor shows up from time to time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw him in at a price. And you know why? You know what's funny about Rock Emperor, right?
No.
Okay. I'll give you a minute to think about it. There's a chance that this horse is really good by Melvin. Not good enough to win the day I need him for a fortune. He destroyed this field last time at Saratoga. He absolutely mocked those horses. I understand Street Ready isn't exactly Gufo, but he just buried those horses.
He galloped.
And he's going to be up in the front end.
I'll tell you what, the courses are labeled firm. We had a lot of rain.
They're good to firm. They were good
to firm.
yesterday.
What I'm saying is there's some cut. This horse has run some big races with some give in the ground.
This horse was cut out to be a good horse as a 3-year-old. He's had a long layoff.
Yep.
Had a big issue.
Ran him in Manhattan.
This horse ran real races. This horse has a chance to be good. Rock Emperor is the first horse that Javier Castellano has ridden for Chad Brown. I'm not sure it's all of 2022, but it might be.
Wow.
Race number 9. You know, I'm excited in race number 9. Let me ask you a question. What do you think of From? You got From Another Mother in there. Here's his win. Now, the one thing I don't like about From Another Mother is the big win was on a biased racetrack. And he was bad last time. And he drops. But couldn't he just wake up today and
Gallop.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is there's a lot of pace in here.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of pace in here.
Well, the scratch and Baltazar helps him. Takes some of the speed out. Cash and the Flash a problem. I couldn't pick him on top. I kind of wanted to, but I didn't. I just don't know if he can run anymore. And he was thrown to the wolves, and then this win is dressed up. But he ran other good races. That mile 16th race behind Mo Donegal was a very good race. He just couldn't go that far. So who do you have on top here?
I went to win for gold. Rudy, fresh gelding, cutting back from the mile to the 7/8. I don't know. This horse might not be able to run anymore, but I'm going to take one little chance when I'm on the drop.
Okay.
I didn't love this race.
I like Skylander.
Okay.
I did mean to send in this stat. Do you remember the stat that I'm going to talk about in this race?
The Bill Mott stat?
This is the stat I wanted to send in. Horses claimed from Bill Mott on the dirt are 20 for 69, 29%, $3.15 ROI. And let me tell you something. You know, tell me this horse is one sold dirt race at 1 1/8 couldn't beat this field?
Yeah, probably could.
I like this horse today.
Okay.
I know Jeffrey Inglar has not won a lot of races in New York since we went to Belmont, but Yard Aqueduct, even though we're calling it Belmont Aqueduct, I thought this horse was very, very interesting cutting back off of that win. Race number 10, a very annoying race for me. I really liked Fistful of Dice. It's funny, when I picked Fistful of Dice, when I was handicapping this race, I said to myself, I know David Aragona is going to pick this horse too. I just could tell this was a horse that he would like as well off the trip that this horse has had, and unfortunately he's scratched, or she's scratched, and that leaves us with two horses that don't win, And I got them 1-2, and you know I don't like them. First, we'll look at New Guinea. I mean, she's just a suck-up type, but she draws well, and she could win this race.
Yeah, she can.
She's a me as a suck-up type, and she's got nothing but losses piled up. I will say that she was buried in traffic last time, and while she moved to the inside in the stretch, she was too wide the whole way last time out. I ended up scratching into She's a Mia over New Guinea. I'm interested to hear why you like the insane horse you
I
picked.
wanted to take a horse.
But
I couldn't take these two. I couldn't take the favorites.
No, listen, I scratched into him. I really like Fistful of Dice. It's one of the horses I really wanted to bet on today. So I'm not happy. How is 40 Smooth going to win this race?
Comes back in 3 weeks, going to sit off the pace of Just Okay is not okay. If she doesn't go and get in front of Just Okay is not okay. I just wanted to bet a horse at a big price. Her turf races aren't great, but she ran okay.
No, they're bad.
She ran okay in a couple
great.
of them. I'm going to take one swing at a huge price against these horses. I can't bet these horses.
She should be 100 to 1 in this race.
I can't bet these horses.
I understand. Lady of Thornton. Well, Lady of Thornton. I didn't put her in there, actually, but I did throw up this replay because I had seen it. This is her race 3 back, I want to say, which is her last turf race. She actually had legit trouble in here. You're going to see her sort of getting shuffled back towards the beginning of the race, or really taken out of this race, just way back. And she made a reasonable run. The problem is, and you see her down the inside, sort of getting steady behind horses, but that happened in a lot of turf races at Saratoga. I think too much was made of it in the charts. She did make a reasonable run in a race that was dominated forward, as we'll pick them up in the stretch. The problem is, and this is, I showed the replay before I had fully handicapped the race. I get the replays in quickly. I just don't know if she's good enough. Is Russia good enough?
I don't know. I mean, I guess.
She also circled the field for those races. I've never loved Russia, and her last race was bad, but she was wide. And the other thing to mention about Russia's last race is true of New Guinea as well, and obviously she has the same post position issue she had last time. It was rainy that day, and even though the course was firm, good, there was a lot of, that was a, well, you know, sort of a difficult racetrack. That's race 10?
Yeah.
One left, race number 11. This is coming as a shock to you. Anthony likes Jocasti. Bill Mott's going to win like 7 races today, according to you. What price is Jocasti going to be in here?
I have no idea.
I do. 4 to 5. By the way, what price should he be in here? I'll tell you what she's not going to be. She's not going to be 5 to 2. There's a problem.
I don't think so.
By the way, I think she's so much the likeliest winner of this race that it's a joke.
Right.
If you don't like her, who do you like?
I don't know.
You want to bet Mooley?
No.
Right. You got her second.
No. Yeah.
If this horse is 5 to 2, she'll probably run last.
Right.
How is she not 6 or 7 to 5 in here? She's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing, going too far to 1 1/8 last time. Frankly, I thought Jose, and maybe he was running her instructions, but I thought he should have been more aggressive with this horse last time. No idea. I picked this horse last time thinking she'd be in front. They showed no interest, so it means he probably was riding to instructions. Okay, so why am I picking Lemon Red? Partly because I pity Mike Doheny for having to be partners with Tom Coleman. To be fair, both owners are friends of mine. That has nothing to do with the reason I picked this horse. But she does have a big pedigree. Testa Rossi won the Miss Grillo. Mm-hmm. And she was second in the Breeders' Cup. You know, okay, she might suck. Really suck.
How do you feel, Andy?
But do we really know that she sucks? She makes her first start on that silly course at Gulfstream, and she doesn't do any running. So she's now with Horacio de Paz. Her last race, to be fair, she wasn't in good position. She was wide there. Royal Dancer, Wild to Field, a short price. She's not a 6 furlong horse. It was her first start to get her going. Doesn't she feel like the only mildly interesting horse in this entire race? I mean,
well, the first to come run a little bit. Guidance, the 11. Could all use some of that.
Yeah, Petey's got bad numbers. First time starters in the turf routes, he's 5 for 43. Got a big ROI because it's a $50 horse win. It's actually, believe it or not, was a Klarovich horse. Isn't it amazing? He had a $50 horse win and his 5 horses, it was a Klarovich horse. You would never have guessed that, right? He's 1 for 9 in maiden claiming races first time out. Horse does have some pedigree. I probably have that horse in somewhere too, right? Mm-hmm. How do you not have the 11 anywhere
there?
I know,
I screwed up. I probably should put the 11. I put the Noda horse
That's
in
your kind of horse.
Yeah.
That Noda horse is terrible. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's why. I mean, horses that show sort of form in here are like Oak Loves a Fight. Jocosti's supposed to beat those horses sleepwalking.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he's a she.
She.
That usually I'm the one who does
I know.
that. You correct me.
I know.
I know you're struggling off that Met game. It's going to be
I
cold
am.
tonight. Even the Big A better dress warmly.
I got my outfit for tonight.
Okay,
I
I'm
got my
sure you
outfit
do.
for tonight.
God forbid I see a picture of it. Anyway, we're done.
This guy, man.
You need to head,
This guy,
you
man.
need to head over to
They
Naira
don't
Bets. Even
stop.
Gabby's laughing. She heard me. She's laughing. Head over to Naira Bets. We will use the promo code MATCH200. We will match them to $200 of your initial deposit. Head on over to Naira Bets. Bet $50 exacta in the Vosburg Opta and Naira Bets. We'll give you a $20 bonus, win or lose, and the show. 12:30 to 6. I got to get up there. I'm going to try to get a bite to eat before I get up there. Anthony, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Go Mets.
Let's go, Mets.
Johnny I up next. Reprise. Scratch and James. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.